Hi, this is Adam from MakerState, and right now we're doing Challenge Hero's Journey, Challenge 2, Part B. And in this part of the challenge, we're going to give our hero the ability to pick up tools, or at least give the impression that that's what's happening. So what I'm going to do is actually paint a new sprite, and I'm going to do this in vector mode just because everything looks a little bit better when you do it in vector mode. And use a pencil and make a shape here, being sure that I keep my shape closed, no openings in the outline, and quickly just draw this kind of staff or this stick here. There we go. So I've completed my shape. I'm going to use this fill bucket to fill it brown. Great. I'm going to make it smaller with the shrink tool and put it somewhere over here, and then maybe go to its information and turn it and just leave it on the ground over here. It's still a little too big. Let's shrink it a little bit more. Okay, great. So I'm going to write some scripts, and we can do a ton of different things for how we want this interaction between our hero sprite and our item to go. So this is just one example, but what I'm going to do is have my item tell my sprite to press the space bar when my sprite comes up to the item. So I'm going to use this key, sorry, not this key, I'm going to use this touching block inside of an if-then loop inside of a forever loop and say, if touching monkey, say press space to pick up. And I'm going to have that alternate with a wait 2 seconds block. So 2 seconds of saying, 2 seconds of waiting. Let's check that. Great, that's exactly what we have. So now what I want to do is actually draw a second costume for my monkey. This is how we're going to give the impression that we're picking up the sprite. I'm going to clone this costume. We can clone costumes too. I'm going to zoom in a little bit just to make sure I do this well. And I'm going to draw again. Let me zoom in even a little bit further. That might be too much. Okay. I'm going to try to draw the same thing I drew before for my sprite. Let's see if I can do it. So far so good. Nice. Again, have to make sure that I close up this shape when I get down here, just like that. And then it's a little wiggly, that'll work, that's fine. Do the same thing underneath the hand. Okay, get up here, close up the shape, great. And now I'm going to take brown fill bucket, fill 2 parts of it. Okay, great. So we have a new costume with the stick. Now I'm going to write some scripts. Some more scripts, I should say. So we've got this happening on the stick side. On the monkey side, let's add another if-then loop, and we can add this in this loop that we were using for our Y control before. And I'm going to use an AND block now. So an AND block becomes true when both sides of it are true. So everything we're going to fill this with 2 other conditions, and those conditions, both of them have to be true in order for the entire block to be true. So we want 2 things to be true. We want to be touching the stick if we're the monkey, and we want to be pressing the space bar. Now we want the key space press block. So when both these things are happening, we'll be touching the space bar while pressing the stick. And when that happens, we're going to switch to the costume that we're currently in. This also means that we need to switch to that costume beforehand. So what I can do now, I can go up here, press space to pick up, and I do. What needs to happen when I do that is this former stick needs to go away, right? And the way we're going to do that is actually by using a broadcast block. So we kind of run into you might say, well, why don't I just take this same thing that I did here, and I can even drag it over here and put it in here. And this might work, but I don't think it's going to work reliably, because what's going to happen if I do this is that we're going to run into a situation where we're asking, which happens first? Does my costume change because I'm touching it, and because the monkey is touching the stick with the space bar in the monkey script, or is the stick hiding because these things are happening in the stick script, right? It's kind of a never-ending cycle, so to speak. What we need to do instead of dealing with that is just broadcast a message, which we can use to basically communicate from one sprite to another. So when my monkey picks up the stick, we're going to broadcast a message. These are events. And I'm just going to make my message called pick up. Okay. And now, when my stick receives the message pick up, it'll know that's when it should hide. Okay, let's try this out. Press the spacebar to pick up. Well, it shouldn't say that until I touch it. Now it says it. There we go. That's pretty good. Now let's just make sure when I press this again. Good. What we need to add is a show block at the beginning of our stick script to make sure that it shows when we run this over and over, right? And let's just try this one more time to be sure. We go up here, press space to pick it up. There we go. We have it. Great. All right, and that's going to be it for right now. Let me save. Enjoy.